Hey, everybody. Are we live?
Yes, we are. Hey, everyone.
Hi. There's two types of people who attend webinars. The people who were like ready to come in a couple minutes early and the people who are like in high school, like running down the hallway, like, I'm 10 minutes late. What did I miss?
Where's my water?
Yeah.
How you doing, ma'am?
Oh my gosh. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I
This
could
is
not be
like,
more excited.
this is our first event. I'm so like, it came, you know what's really cool is everyone's about to watch this really awesome piece of content that you and I just whipped together like we've known each other our whole careers.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yet,
it was the best.
when did we meet? Like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like a lifetime ago?
This is everyone's nudge to go find your HR bestie because you need someone who you can, talk about this stuff outside of how do I do it? It's like just to have someone like, should organizations should be doing this? What do you think? Yes. No. You need someone you can speak frankly with about what we're trying to solve for.
Yes. Your
Everyone,
HR
go find
twin.
your HR bestie.
Yes.
Um,
Besties.
Let me find the chat. Everyone, so this is JJ. I'm Christy. We'll introduce ourselves in a minute. I want to know, though, where are you? Tell me in the chat. Where are you located? How many employees do you have? Maybe what industry are you in, too? This will give us all a chance to practice.
Heck, even what you had for breakfast. That works, too. We want to get to know you.
I have a feeling this is a global event, too. So, like, or lunch, or dinner, or maybe you're having your midnight snack.
Yeah.
But I want everyone, anyone who's on, which I want to see how many people are here. 700 and, what were we at, JJ? Like 780 people the last time I looked
Yes.
registered?
Yes.
Clearly we hit a nerve.
I think we did. And that's exciting.
Okay, I just want to make sure the chat's working.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people. Louis commenting, Iris, Peter.
What am I missing? I'm looking in the wrong window. Hold on, everyone. I got to get this right because I want to see what you're saying. Hold on, everybody.
Tech, right?
I mean, yeah, this is kind of like, okay, it's okay. While you're waiting for me to figure out the tool that I'm using to give you this presentation, keep telling us, where are you located? How many employees do you have? What industry are you in? Anything helpful? Just say, hey, we want this session to be super interactive. So if you attend and you don't send a single chat message, I'm going to be really upset. So don't do that.
Oh my God, Workleap rocks. Thanks, Seb. Oh my God. Amazing comments coming in the chat. Abby. I got some people from tech industry.
Hey, JJ, I know we got to kick it off, but really quick, when you go to the
Yes.
chat, I see me and you, which I love, but I want to see everybody else.
Yeah.
Do you see a button I should be pushing?
Maybe just refresh your page
You know what? We're not going to mess with it.
to work.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Christie Hoffman. I'm here with my buddy JJ. We work at Workleap, and we're super excited to talk to you about performance reviews because there were 780 or so of you who registered, so I can tell it's something that's somewhat important to all of you and probably something you wish you could do better, which is why we're super glad you're here today. So, JJ, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes. So I'm Julie Jeannotte. So that's very French. That's because I'm in Montreal, Canada. But I go show for JJ. So feel free to call me JJ wherever in the chat. I've actually celebrated my 7-year anniversary with Workleap 2 days ago. Woo woo. Feels like a decade, or at least 2 decades. And I'm our HR expert and researcher internally. I come from the world of HR. I was a practitioner for a decade and a half before joining Workleap. I've worked most of my time here on our Workleap Office Vibe product. And I'm super excited. I'm an engagement nerd, and I can't wait to untangle this performance management mess.
Did you mention your podcast?
I did not. So I have the immense honor of being the host of Vibe Check, our podcast. We have 12 episodes out. I'm sure you'd love it. So check us out on Spotify.
Sweet.
And on YouTube. How about you, ma'am? You have your own podcast, don't you?
I do. So, hey, everybody. And if you're coming from Pingboard, what's up? I'm so excited to see you guys here. I'm Christie Hoffman. I host what was Pingboard's podcast, Flip Flops and People Ops, which is your spot to go to figure out how to turn your company into a great place to work. We talk very casually about all the nuanced little ticky-tack things that do and do not work to drive engagement and what's going to work for your company. But what's really awesome is Pingboard is now part of Workleap, which is a bigger, better solution when you're ready, for tech one day. It may not be today. When you're ready, I now get to be with this bigger suite of ways for you to actually solve for the employee experience the way we talk about on the show. So it's just bigger and better, baby. And now you got me and JJ, two people who are obsessed with employee engagement and breaking it down for you. So without further ado, we will jump into it.
Yes. Let's kick it off.
So let's set the scene, okay? This is what we all hope for. You in HR, you're just like, we need to give people feedback. We want them to grow and stay with our company. So hey, managers, can you please get me the data I need to see how everyone's doing and make sure everyone knows their path to grow at this company, and just make sure they feel super seen, heard, validated, and just tell them they're awesome, but this is what we need them to do just a little bit maybe different. And the employees go through the process and they're like, that was amazing. That was the best experience I've had at this company. I'm never going to leave. That was not traumatizing at all. Thank you for the feedback. I feel like you care so deeply about me, dear company that I work for. No, it's actually like this. You're like shouting into the wind, trying to get people to take action, trying to keep people on track, and hope to God, if you even had time for training managers, that your managers give a decent experience and don't whack people upside the head with feedback. The managers are stopping their actual work to pause everything and think back, okay, what did this person do? What's kind of some constructive feedback they're pulling from the ethers to put something together? They're stressed, they're missing their deadlines, and everything's on pause. For the employee, days leading up to it is like, oh my gosh, what is about to happen? They're consoling each other in Slack, because that does happen too. And they go into their session, they get their feedback, and they're like, thank you. That was not traumatizing at all. And they leave, and like I said, they're all in Slack like, can you believe they think this about me? Or I was told I have to work on this? This is crazy. It's a nightmare. It's not doing what we think it is. And for you, it's annoying, but for your managers and your employees, that's why we separated this out into two different buckets. They're having issues too, and they're a little bit different than yours. And we're going to break down how to solve for all of you, because we're all dealing with performance reviews here.
What I took from what you said, which is actually such like an imaged and very appropriate, accurate picture of things, is the costs are outweighing the benefits.
Yeah.
We need to wake up. This is no longer sustainable, right, partner?
This costs your company money. When all of you are feeling like this all at the same time, the business is on pause, and that's not good.
That's bad. And when you said about employees turning to each other, consoling themselves, like that's an immense energy and productivity drain. This has got to stop. Okay, first, let's back up. How the hell did we get there? Like, what happened? Let's take that step back and look at when most performance management processes were actually put together. Like earlier centuries, people. This makes no sense. Work at that time was pretty simple. Put that bolt into that screw, do that as many times as you can, push that button as many times as you can during this shift. It was simple. The world of work no longer works like that today. It does not make sense. We're in a world where everything is changing. The pace of change is absolutely crazy. There's much more nuance in this knowledge working that is taking place. So I want to bring this back to whether for the purpose of appraising or not, it is just good business sense for managers to have ongoing discussions with their employees. You remember going back to the pandemic a couple years ago, feels like a century ago, we really saw like an upkick in companies using pulse surveys to know how people were living their experiences at work. Does that make sense that this outreach has not broadened to the world of performance management? To me, I think you'll agree, Chris, it doesn't make sense. Plus, add to this the short skill supply. You all know this. I know the audience is aware that it's critical now more than ever to retain good talent. Pace of change is crazy. Tech is coming at us, just disrupting our lives. There's a volatile economy. There's a changing labor market. We need to be agile in our goals with our strategies. And it's the same for performance management. Plus, we all know performance expectations from employees have drastically changed. Like there's no denying it. They're asking for it. Yet we still struggle to adapt old ways of working and evaluating and measuring and improving performance to the world of work in which we are today. I am a data geek, you know that. I looked at our office-wide pulse survey data, and I have like 3 stats that I want to show that just go to tell how much this is a problem that is worth fixing. 50% of employees don't believe their performance is evaluated fairly. Oh my God. PTSD. 42% of employees do not get the feedback they need to improve on their work and grow their skills. And 43% of them do say they do not review their goals at the right frequency with the manager. Like, a lot is wrong. You know, it's broken. It's worth fixing. What do we do about it, though?
This is putting your business on pause, and it's not doing what we think it is. And in fact, it's like not only just pausing the business, it's like shoving the business down for a second. It's like making you work out of a deficit. Like, it's so busted. But doom and gloom, guess what? Spoiler alert, we're going to tell you a better way. Don't worry.
Yay! So that better way, I mean, we're not going to come here and change the world and come up with this recipe to say, you need to be doing this one annual review that feeds to compensation and succession discussions, and then combine that with 4 smaller reviews or ongoing one-on-ones. The reality is, we've studied this. When we started building our performance management product, we spoke to dozens and dozens of customers, and what was really clear is that the process is unique in every single shop. And that's okay. It needs to match your culture. It needs to match with who you are as an organization. It needs to align with your values. And although a lot of those sound alike, they're always slightly different. And you've got your tweaks and your things that make your organization unique. What matters is that you solve for the problems inside your organization and that you match that. So there is no magic recipe, but there is a framework you can follow to design the process that works for you, for your team, for your managers, for your employees.
Yep. So figuring out what works for your company comes from your employees. You can listen to mine and JJ's podcast, attend these webinars that we put together for you, which we love, but we're telling you the frameworks to then be like, and you, like, you take it and you go figure out what your employees have to say about these things, because it's not going to be the same at every company. You're not going to have the same performance review process at one company fit perfectly into another. You're going to tweak it and you're going to make it yours, but your employees have to be the ones to tell you how to do that. So that said, let's zoom out, because we're not just talking about performance reviews here. There's something, a mindset shift that is worth considering right now. If you've never heard this, most companies have a disengaged workforce. Unfortunately, that's the norm. Most companies are thinking revenue first. That means it's make the board happy, get the revenue at all costs. We will think about culture later. We'll get to it. We'll figure it out. You're growing, or even maybe if you're shrinking, whatever's going on with your business, you're telling the employees money is the most important, and you guys will come later. And it sounds counterintuitive, because of course your company and your business needs to make money. Otherwise, nobody has a job. We all want to like sit in a field of daisies and just talk about how great we are, but we have to make money at the end of the day. Yeah. But here's how you do it. You go the people first route, okay? That means we will build long-term scalable revenue and stop the voluntary turnover and quiet quitting army of apathetic zombies who are not productive by putting the employees at the center of everything we do. And that's why you listen to our podcast, to learn more about what that means. But like, that means getting really good at surveys, getting really comfortable speaking at your all hands, getting really good at building your feedback loop so that you know what to work on and why. We don't guess when we're solving for disengagement. A people-first company is the better longer-term bet for your business to make sure the employees are good, that they're succeeding, they're feeling connected. Engagement is all about going above and beyond and feeling emotionally connected to the company. And you will drive disengagement when this performance review process is like a whack upside the head. So we're gonna go zoom back in and talk more about specifically performance management, but I really want you to think about the concept. Are you a revenue first company? You might say people first and like, we are employee led or whatever, you know, those phrases. And you're like, are you though? Because it's hard, but it's a shift to start thinking with you, then we'll get to your CEO, then we'll get to the managers and employees over time. But this people first mentality shifts all the pressure off of just you on your shoulders to drive engagement, because that's impossible. This whole people first concept means your managers are an extension of you because they spend way more time with the employees than you do, and 70% of the employee experience is the manager-employee relationship. You would have no idea what's going on teams if you didn't have properly trained managers to make sure that they're like an agent for change on behalf of you. This shift also gives you a whole culture vibe of employees seeing feedback as a gift, which is really important at performance review time. And you need budget. That's a whole other topic. You can check out my podcast. I go off on that. But you also need tech to do this well. No more, a people-first company doesn't have an HR leader who's playing HR whack-a-mole all day and can't think critically about how to change the business because you're so busy running the business. So tech, it's time to automate the things that I know you love, but you're not doing it in a manual way. And you're giving everyone a great experience as your company grows over time.
Right. Okay, so you're in for a treat. Most webinars will stop here, right? They're going to give you this framework, a super simple loop. Listen, everyone, super simple, 5 steps. Do your discovery. Yeah, just do that. Design, pilot, train, rollout. Awesome. We all know it's not that simple. That's not what we do here.
No,
not this webinar. So get your phones ready, get your shift, whatever, on your Mac or your PC going, because you're going to want a screenshot. This is where we're going to spend the most time. This talk was just the intro. We want to set you up with, and I know, sorry, that's a lot of information. Don't worry.
Sorry, JJ, I went too fast. Sorry, JJ was still setting the scene. Stop, everybody. Yeah. Hold on. Set the scene.
Hey, hold on.
Sorry.
No, all good. But we're gonna walk you through step by step all of these things, right? So let's move on to this framework that we have planned for you. So it seems like a lot. Don't worry. We know you might be a team of one, a team of a few. We've got you covered. We're gonna explain what you do. First thing, like you said, Christy, the people know the answers. They know what's wrong, and they often have the solutions to help you fix it. First thing you do, whatever process you have for now, you are going to survey your people. What you want, and this is why tech is really important, is going to make this process really easy for you. You're going to want to survey both perspectives. You want to talk to your managers. You want to talk to your employees. And don't forget, managers are also employees. They have a double perspective. They get the feedback, they get reviews, and they give them. So they feel differently about both the process, and their experience might be really different. So this is where you're going to come in, where you have your open-ended questions and you want to draw for feelings, right? You're going to really raw feedback, and we'll speak to that in a minute, but you want to ask things like you're seeing on this screen. What's the most frustrating part about giving or getting a review? How do you feel when that conversation's over? Have you ever given or gotten performance reviews that have made you feel horrible? Tell me about that experience. Describe to me what that bad experience was like. Then, Christy, I know you want to speak to this raw feedback that's going to come out.
Yep.
Yeah?
Everybody,
Tell
like,
us.
I love AI. If you ever have questions about using AI in HR, send me a message. But the reason we're asking you to tell them the negative stuff, which I know feels so bad, especially if it's about your workforce, you're like, how did I fail you so bad? You don't want to ask them what they want it to be, because if, like Henry Ford said, if you ask people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. We need to get them to paint like the worst possible things and what's happened to them and unfolded, and then you reverse that and you're like, okay, as long as that doesn't happen, what's the inverse of that? So when you get all the raw feedback, and it's a hot dumpster fire of employees telling you maybe why your business is failing them. First of all, congratulations, because you have a workforce that's talking to you. Yes. And a lot of employees can't even get their employees to take surveys. So flip your narrative here and remind yourself that negative employee feedback it's your answers to the engagement test. So look at all these opportunities to do better, not, oh my God, we've traumatized everyone, what have we done? Or like, I can't fix this is too bad. Yes, you can. Just do the inverse. If you have the time to like comb through all the qualitative feeling statements, great. I doubt that you do though. So here's my recommendation. If you want more help with this, message me on LinkedIn. I can literally show you. But go into ChatGPT, say, hey ChatGPT, simply this. This is a prompt, okay? It's not fancy. Don't be scared. hey, ChatGPT, I just sent a survey to my employees asking them how we could do performance reviews better. We're going for the people first mentality. ChatGPT knows this. I've already tested it. I'm about to paste the raw feedback from my employees about what they don't like. Can you please identify the patterns and pull out some problem statements that seem to be redundant across all these responses? You don't have to put the employee's name. You don't have to put their employee ID number. None of this is like worried about like data security. Just copy the raw feedback and go boom. And it will very quickly and very accurately, because I would not recommend something that I have not tried myself and had success with. It will find the patterns for you so that you can jump back into the qualitative data and say like, okay, yes, like this was way faster. Or you can look yourself and then test ChatGPT. Depends on your personality. But
you'll be impressed. Like, it's pretty good. I've had it do pretty amazing things. Like,
and I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want AI to come for my job. I don't want to rely on AI. Like, AI is not coming for your job, first of all. But someone who gets better in a role like yours at using AI to do their job at scale, they could come for your job. I hope they don't, but it's not going to happen because you're going to start to get comfortable with these tools. That's a separate webinar, but this portion is like, use AI to help you go faster with finding the qualitative feelings problem statements.
Spot on. And then what you end up with, I love the fact that you call those problem statements, Christie, because that's actually what you're solving for. And that's an incredible gift. Like Christie just said, freak out positively on the fact that people trust you enough to give you that feedback. Like, that is a gift. If you don't, it's really bad news. So feel lucky that you're getting that feedback, but you're also getting something incredible. You're getting what you need to speak their language. You can have that list, that punch list of basically the problem statements that you're looking to solve with your redesign. So this is probably where we need to talk about having the right tech, because obviously, like, doing this process in Excel and through emails is no longer scalable. You have to get the right tool that enables those conversations to live, for that feedback to flow. And your problem statements are actually your grocery list. Like, imagine literally you're walking into a grocery store. You're going to have to go to your CEO for budget. Yes, we acknowledge that, but you need those problem statements. Otherwise, you're just pushing your carts in the aisle, spending probably $200, but ending up eating chips and Coke for dinner because you have no plan. You didn't have your grocery list. You didn't make your meal plan. You're shopping for tech that you haven't actually set out what you want to do with it. So please, I see you want to chime in. Go ahead.
I just want to add to it. When Christy clicks her tongue, that's like my Greek Italian. My grandmother used to do that. This is how you have a faster process. You know how crummy it is to go shopping for new tech?
Oh my God.
Demand before a discovery call, and they're like, let me give you a demo. Like, hold on. Can you solve for this? This is what my employees are saying. How do you guys, make sure this doesn't happen? That also it drives adoption of your tool, because you're not then buying a tool for what you need. You are now shopping for you, the managers, and the employees, and you're shopping for a tool that's more likely to be a fit for what your organization is struggling with. Very often HR sometimes accidentally shops for a tool that gives them all the reports, but it has a terrible UX, and employees are like, I don't want to log into this. And then you're like,
use it. I know. And then you're pulling your hair because you made the wrong choice, and you probably got just really impressed, because vendors are really, really good. They understand the market. They know how to make their product shine. But go back to your problem statements. Ask them to show you how their tech will solve for their those problems. All right. Then what do? We go into the all hands, right? This is where we address the entire company, where we reflect back on those surveys and the insights that came from them. So you say things like, we heard you. Thank you. We're in this together. We could never have done this if you hadn't sent your problems and your dissatisfaction. Sorry. help the French speaker here. If you hadn't sent your dissatisfactions our way, we would not be able to solve for this together. You also want to find your champions. You want to get that main or key executive that's going to echo for you And I know you want to you're adding
I'm
something here.
sorry. JJ, you're always so
No,
good at reading my body language. She's
jive
like,
together.
hey everyone, this is a really critical moment. It's not just like, hey, all hands, performance reviews are coming up. We're going to pick a new tool. No. You skipped the meat and potatoes. What your employees want to hear is, hey, it's performance review time. Thank you to everyone who took that survey. We got this much participation. That means the world to me. My job is to deliver a better employee experience for you. So when you tell me what it's like to work here, I can do my job. Thank you. Okay? They're starting to get rewarded for what they're like, oh, really? Because I kind of popped off on my responses. And you're like, yeah, everyone, I needed that feedback so that I can do better. They're just starting to hear all this language that's, no matter how work's unfolding on teams or how certain interactions are, you've already driven engagement because you're showing them that you actually do care what they think, okay? Yeah. And if we get through this whole process and it wasn't just right, that's okay. You still drove engagement. You can try again. JJ is going to, I'm stealing your thunder, JJ, for the end, but these are the little mini moments where you can build or drive engagement, because you have to close the loop on that survey. Like, thank you. You need to reward them. Thank you for telling us. Please take your surveys in the future again, too, because you're proving to them we're actually listening.
And we're going to do this loop again. You're teaching them, this is how we do things around here. We fix things together. We go look for the problems. We go look for what we're trying to solve for, and we build it together as a team. And guess what? Not to sound discouraging, but it's the reality. It's what we do with ongoing engagement surveys. This loop you'll do several times, but you're driving engagement every single time you're doing it, instead of continue to do what you're doing right now, which is not working and is driving dissatisfaction, disengagement, and people to leave. Okay, so what do we do next? We train our managers, right? So we prep them on this new process. We coach them for how to deliver that feedback. We teach them all of these soft skills that will be needed because it's tough. Some of them are really just natural born empathetic leaders who can read the room and can, have that super important self-awareness in delivering that feedback, and emotional and relational intelligence that's needed to be doing that active listening, to be doing that coaching. Some of them you'll need to match with other more senior, experienced, poised managers, and some of them you'll need to train and hold by the hand a little bit more. You probably know who these people are, but you need to really address those specific needs, because again, here we told you, managers are an extension of yourself, and you need to be present for them. They're going to come to you for that comfort with that nervousness of, I don't know how to deliver that feedback, or this review I'm anticipating will be a little bit harder. Help me come up with the proper talking points and the proper way to deliver that message. So the employee leaves that conversation not being like, oh shit, that went wrong. I'm completely demotivated, versus, oh my God, I feel my manager actually truly cares. I might not be performing completely up on par with expectations, but I know this person, my manager in front of me, cares enough and has got my back. And we have a firm plan to get back on track.
The best thing you can do is make sure you have scenarios baked out, like when your employee gets emotional, when your employee,
do this.
Not if, when your employee argues with you on this feedback. They need to be prepared to think stuff through. Even your most experienced managers could benefit from this, but managers don't often get training, and then we're kind of like, bye, good luck. You were the high performer. I hope you know how to manage a team. I hope you enjoy psychology. I hope you read some books.
So true.
This is leaving a lot up to chance for you to drive engagement and for your business to earn money. So you have to make sure your managers are getting the support they need from you. Shoot, what else was I going to say? So, I lost it. I knew I was going to write it down. That's okay. We can...
It'll come back. You'll go in 10 seconds.
I'll click my tongue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Deploy. Remind your managers of the problem statements that you're solving for. Why did we do this? What were we trying to fix? And what we hope is better in this process. Over communicate that the goal here is to provide a better employee experience. That's the main goal of all of this process, to give your employees the feedback and recognition they need to perform at their best.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get your flash? Did it come back? No? Not yet?
My flash?
Yeah. The thought that you lost
Oh, no,
in
no,
the
no. Oh,
world.
it's gone. It left the station. I gave up. I was
Okay.
going to say, this is why on the deploy step really quick, it's so good to think about your buckets and your personas here, your own personas in HR, your people managers, your CEO, we'll deal with them another day, and your employees. So when you're reminding the managers of the problem statements, you don't say, guys, I need this data. I need you to do this. Like, hey, a more productive, collaborative, engaged team for you that's, doing the work with you, that's what's on the other end of this. Remind everyone what's in it for them. And then employees too, like, hey, it's performance review week. Remember, we're going to be sending a survey to make sure that you got value from this. Give them some kind of escape hatch where they're like, okay, I know I'm less anxious because I know that if this doesn't go well, I have someone I can talk to. That's driving engagement. So this deploy step is like, think about who your people are and like what you're going to say to them to get them, hey, let's go in this together. It's for you. So let's dial it in.
And you breathe for a moment because this process was a little bit intense. You likely had a lot of emotions. You worked really hard, but it's really important that you close that loop. So you'll survey again. You'll go back to people. Tell us how we did worse than before. Tell us how we did. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Tell us how we did better than before. What's one thing you would change? How did you feel coming out of this review? If you could change one thing, what would that be? Look for concrete solutions, both from your managers, from all your stakeholders, more importantly, from your employees.
You really got to capture this key moment too. That's like, hey, did we do better? This is your pulse survey follow up quick. Like this is why we need to get you comfortable with surveys and the formats and training your employees. It's not to be annoying. You're trying to make sure they're good. So, the survey questions that aren't strong are like, please rate your performance review, because they're thinking like, oh no, it was bad, but I'm scared I'm going to get my manager in trouble. When you ask them, hey, what could have been better about your performance review? What, if anything, surprised you? You're assuming and giving them permission to say, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And they're not like, well, scale of 1 to 10, I don't know. Like, when you assume that they have negative feedback, it makes it easier and they feel safer to be like, well, yeah, I have some suggestions for next time. So think about what's going to cause the least amount of panic and drive the most, like, I want to answer this for the employees.
Yeah.
Christie's 2 favorite topics are onboarding and surveys. So you really, and AI, if you want me to go off.
We have stuff in common. Surely this won't be our first conversation together, and our last.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I saw a couple of comments in the chat. I am sorry for interrupting, Christy.
Okay.
Just before we close on this and get to questions, we've had several comments saying that the slides were pretty small on the live, so we're gonna shoot over the PowerPoint in the chat. Don't worry, we've got you covered.
Sorry,
we're gonna
buddy.
have follow-up emails. It's all good. You're gonna get to like zoom in on the micro details.
Well, then that was cruel of us to share a big picture with you. But anyway, we'll make sure you guys get that image. I'll post it on LinkedIn too.
Yeah,
We wanted
same.
to close this out before we do questions. Like, think about it like this. All of what we just talked about, that sounds hard, right? Like, that sounds like a lot of work. And you're probably thinking like, I don't necessarily feel like I can handle that or have time for that. But it's also hard to have a disengaged workforce, not really know why sometimes, and know that teams are, the people you work so hard to hire are kind of suffering unnecessarily for certain moments of your employee experience, not having budget, not having those difficult discussions with your CEO. That's hard too. So if you're here today, you probably want to have this big, beautiful HR career, and we want that for you too. So like, we're just going to encourage you, choose your hard. The answers to the disengagement test are with your people, and it's with that people first mentality. But you need the right tech to make sure that you're doing the automated things that you can be doing so you can focus on these moments in your delivery at these times that matter. So choose your hard. Maybe too much Mel Robbins in my feed, but I was like, you know what we should say, JJ? And she was like, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so time for questions.
Yeah.
Like we joked earlier, no stupid questions, just stupid answers. Hopefully that doesn't happen. All right. So
I still can't
let's
see
go.
the chat. Shoot.
Yeah, let me see what I can do here. We're just gonna
Everyone,
this
post
is
your
like-
questions. We're going to see them in just a second. I'm going to hop off and hop back in.
Okay.
Let us know if anything was something. Oh, you know what? There might have been stuff in there too that you're like, I kind of already knew all of that. Sure. But also, are you doing it? Because that's another piece of this too. Sometimes webinars, you're like, man, like I was hoping to learn something super new, which hopefully you did today. But if you didn't, my question to you is like, are you doing those things? And has that worked? So,
Okay, so
let's
okay, so Christy, stay with us.
okay.
I'm seeing the comments on my end, so don't you worry. I think we're good. We have an awesome question from Louis. I hope I'm saying your name right. Maybe it's Louis or Louis. They're
I love this
asking,
question.
yes, how do you address requests for changes that are not practical and or reasonable? Oh, that's a wonderful question. I love it.
Do you want to go first and then I'll weigh in?
No,
Or?
go.
Okay.
I knew you want to react to this.
I feel like this could be on behalf of a manager or an employee where you get this ridiculous request where you're like, okay, people first doesn't mean we do everything that you guys say.
Yeah.
So you never want to just ignore certain feedback because you can't implement it. You still can in your all hands or directly to that person if they like identified themselves in the survey, but surveys should be anonymous kind of always. You can address it in the all hands and say, here are the things that we are really seriously considering. Here are the other things that we know you said were important to you. We can't get to it right now, or we don't have budget for it right now, but we heard you. You can make sure that you're still telling a story of like, this was the feedback we got. This is what we're working with right now. This stuff, I just want you to know, thank you for telling us this too. Move on. And use your gut, like, you know what's kind of ridiculous and what's not. Like you can't have a lollipop after your performance review because you need like a sugar rush. Like there's certain things that people ask and you're like, that's adorable. Thank you for telling me. But no, but addressing it at least and finding a way to just mention it is all they want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Ignoring it is just not an option, right? It'll make that person shut down probably forever. I agree with what you said. We have some people also asking about some info on the podcast that you mentioned a couple times. So Christy, share yours first, and I can talk about Bite Check after.
So my podcast is Flip Flops and People Ops. If I would have known the podcast was going to stick and become a thing, I probably would have picked a different name. But think about it like in any given day, you're like doing flip flops all over the place, trying to do everything for everyone. Check out my titles of my episodes because it's like if you wanted to do a deeper dive into surveys, if you wanted to do a deeper dive into one-on-one management training, I have episodes that like just read the titles. You might have to scroll back a little bit, but it's all in there. And I also have a YouTube channel. If you go to Pingboard's YouTube channel, it's basically on my face. When I even open it, I'm like, ah! But it's webinars, it's deeper dives where I talk to you like this for an hour when it was just me at Pingboard, and that content still stands as well for the sake of like the best practices.
And honestly, she's awesome. Like I've listened to many of your episodes. They're just, you crack me up. They're so funny, so real, so relatable. Like if you're looking for someone who cuts through the crap, pardon my French, and just tells it like it is, Christy is your gal. So you'll want to listen to that. And then on the Workleap side, we have our podcast that is called Vibe Check. So you can find the episodes on YouTube, same, just search for Workleap Vibe Check, and then we can post some of the links in there too.
Yeah.
And I especially recall the last episode, so that's episode 12. It's what a wonderful, wonderful entrepreneur. Her name is Sophie Gadouri, or Sophie in English. She's just awesome. And the episode is really closely related to what we talked about today. So it's on the art of receiving and giving feedback. And it's beautiful. Like you'll see how she shares. She was an athlete. She went to the Olympic Games as well. And she was really drawing the parallels between feedback between a coach and an athlete. So in the world of sports, and how that has failed in many ways to transfer into the workplace. And we really unpack this wonderful subject. It's a really long conversation. It's like an hour and something. It's like one of the longest podcasts episode that we've done. But honestly, it's one of my favorites. You'll love it. So check it out.
I think exposing yourself to a lot of different podcasts, JJ and I don't care how you get to the right answers. Fill your feed, like follow us on LinkedIn, but like fill your feed with other HR thought leaders. Fill your feed with other people who are saying the things that you want to get to. Yeah. Message the chief happiness officer. Message the chief, like, that was a weird job title to pick, but go pick that job title that you're striving for. Message them. Be like, hi, I'm in HR too. Can I know you? This is the most helpful of the departments that I love to talk to online because you all are very empathetic. You need to go find your HR bestie who you can just like, hey, at your company, do you struggle with this? Yeah, I do. So just expose yourself to all this information, and you will over time really start to think for yourself a lot more quickly than you may realize. If engagement is feeling really big for you, the best thing you can do is continue to listen to the specialized podcasts, think through how it applies to your company, and find other people just like you. Can't do it by yourself. You can't solve for this in your own head. You need to talk to other people.
Absolutely. And learn how they've done through it. And just also, share compassion and swap stories on how this is difficult sometimes. And what I love is the HR community is one of the most, like you said, empathetic, but also so giving.
Yeah.
And the level of engagement is really, really strong. Tap into this. Like the reality is you may be alone as an HR person inside your organization, but you are not alone in the world. There's plenty of people who can help.
So JJ, we got another question I know you're going to love too from Andrea. How can I, as a part of the HR team, convince the board/CEO about the people first principle? Okay. Welcome to Christie's masterclass in psychology. We can't talk about the things that we want. Hey, I need budget. I need you to think people first. I need you to be more like me. With the board and the CEO, the terms that they care about, the keywords for them is revenue, long-term scalability,
Productivity.
less turnover, productivity. You say, hey, this is a philosophy that will get us to more scalable long-term revenue for the business.
Show them how. Tell them stories of companies who've succeeded. Show them how the current approach, and you don't have to call it revenue first, but is failing in many ways. Come with your bag full of HR metrics. If you only have a few, that's fine. Show them there's those turnover numbers. Get them recaps. Shoot your exit interview to all of your exit interview feedback to ChatGPT. Come prepared with a summary of why this is not working, and take a moment to also outline what is working well and you can do more of in that people first principle. But,
I want to say I have a script for this too. If anyone wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm like, I did this already. I wrote this somewhere. So I'll give it to you guys.
Okay.
You have to get their buy-in because you can't you're like the neck that turns the head, and they'll go kind of like, you got to use your influence. You do have a lot more influence than you think. But in order to be taken seriously, you need to prove to them that you're thinking about what they care about.
Yes, exactly. And that takes multiple conversations, a strong relationship that's built over time through these many conversations, but it's done through a lot of listening. Watch, observe, listen to how they talk. Get that list of like those key terms that you said they care about and translate in statements that matters to them. Show them how what you will be working on will fix what they're trying to fix for.
Someone on the HR team also needs a direct line to your president, your CEO, whoever. If you're not on the executive leadership team, you need a seat at that table and to be invited up because you're representing the people. If they're in there making decisions about the people, you're kind of like the person who's got the people in mind the most. So have a recurring one-on-one with your leader. And if they're like, I don't have time for this, I'm sorry, you don't have time for your people? Not you, their people. Like, you don't have time for the employees is what you're saying. And I know that's not what you mean because you're trying to grow the business. So I think what you meant to say is, I'll see you on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Can't wait to see you there, buddy.
I love the assertiveness. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Manage up, but nicely. What other questions do you all have? What's gone well, or where have you gotten stuck? And we're probably over a little bit on time, but like JJ and I can hang around for a second and talk through anything specific with anyone.
Yeah. I see we have one from Celesta. She's asking, how can we build a more trusting relationship between managers and their employees? That's such a powerful question. I agree.
Yeah,
I think
like talking about it, being very vulnerable. That's what your all hands is for. And like, hey, everybody, we want to do better. It's you can't work on these things without telling everyone you're working on them. Nobody can read your mind. The power of vulnerability, like Brene Brown says, hey, we're trying to shift this. We want to do better here. I want to create this feedback loop, and here's why. It's for you. Or just, it is okay to talk about feelings at all hands. And then lump it all up with, and my job is to deliver a better employee experience for you. So like all of this is for you.
And the same for the employee manager relationships. Like those one-on-ones, is the most powerful tool your managers have to connect, understand, and motivate their people. And if this is not really part of your culture, start small, like asking employees how frequently inside their teams they want to have one-on-ones with their manager. There's the current frequency work. What do they want to talk about? Are they comfortable with the status update? Would they rather alternate one of those status update discussions to like more of a career talk? There are tons of templates. We have tons inside our products as well that you can use. But make sure that there's this ongoing intentional connection between managers and employees.
Yeah. And
all right.
Not all of you are ready for tech yet. That's fine. Today was meant to be like, you're not crazy. Here's some ways to think different. But if you are ready for a more automated approach and you're more serious about like doing this like very soon, check out Workleap Office Vibe. A lot of what we described today is possible with tech.
Yeah.
So you can go see JJ and I on the other website. Go see us at the Workleap website. We'll chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
all right. I think sadly we're already at the point of wrapping up.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, JJ. I can't wait to do it again. I hope all of you, got something of value. Let us know on LinkedIn when we repost this. Like, tell us what you learned. Reach out to me and JJ.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. Any feedback or like, if you just want to say hi, we're real people and we would love to talk to you and have an ongoing conversation to hear more about a day in your life because you need support. You need people who back you and know that you're great. So thanks
100%.
for attending.
Yes, that was a blast. Thank you for telling us where you were calling in from, a little bit more about your companies and where you might be struggling and for engaging with us through this conversation. Like you said, I hope you found value and that you come back for future events.
Yeah. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye everyone.